A very good evening, one and all, ladies and gentlemen, the future leaders, respected faculty members, valued students, and our esteemed guests. A warm welcome to the another enlightening episode of GIBS IRE Talks. I'm Professor Sandeep Acharya, and it's my pleasure to host today's IRE Talk on the topic that is very, very useful for all of us who are aiming to grow their health and as well as early stage startups. So today's topic is scaling early stage startups, vision to reality, a roadmap for entrepreneurs and on the crucial steps for building the startups for the initial concept to execution. So majorly we'll be discussing the key ingredients and building blocks of a startup, drawing parallel from our guest's personal experience as well as the industry best practices. So before we get into the topic, let me introduce you all to GIBS. So GIBS Business School is based in Bangalore. We are an exclusive business school promoted and driven by the IM alumni, offering top-tier business education. Currently, we have two flagship programs, the BBA from Bangalore University and AICT approved PGDM program. These courses are meticulously designed to equip the students with the necessary skills and knowledge to thrive in the business world. Our curriculum blends theoretical learning with a practical application and guided by the experienced faculty and industry experts. With the state-of-art facility, corporate partnerships, and strong placement cell, GIBS ensures the students are well prepared for the professional journeys. So I would love to share a few insights, a very brief and quick insight about what GIBS IRE Talks is all about. So GIBS IRE Talks is an initiative of GIBS Business School Bangalore dedicated to enhance student skills in innovation, research, and entrepreneurship. The talk provides a platform for the students to interact with the industry leaders, successful entrepreneurs, as well as the academic experts. This framework encourages students to develop an innovative ideas and conduct significant research and embark on entrepreneurial journey. Through these engagements, students gain valuable insights, build professional networks, and boost their confidence and preparing them to excel in their career and make an impactful contribution to the business world. So let's introduce our keynote speaker for the evening. I would say it's my immense pleasure to introduce you all to our keynote speaker for today, Mr. Sandeep Acharya. He is the co-founder and director at AyuRhythm, a Shark Tank fame. Mr. Sandeep is also an engineer, an MBA by qualification, with a decade of experience in the field of data analytics and with expertise in the area of customer intelligence, statistic modeling, and building end-to-end analytic landscapes. He has led and set up marketing and pricing analytics practices for various clients globally in the financing, banking, as well as in the healthcare and medical devices sectors, both in developing and developed markets for B2B as well as for B2C markets. And he is also a co-founder for fintech startup, basically a SaaS platform for chartered accountants. So thank you so much for joining in, Sandeep sir. It was really great having you today. And we are really happy to learn a lot of things. And I must say that the AyuRhythm app, I am one of the user of that, sir. I would say it has great features, I would say. So I really track the app which you have with the cameras and with the sensors which has been working. It's really amazing, I would say. Over to you, sir. We would love to learn a lot of things from your end. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sandeep, for a warm introduction. And thanks. It's my pleasure to get an opportunity to present to each one who have joined today. Welcome all of you. So my idea is to cover some of the basic building blocks of building a startup, from how you convert from an idea to take it to some stage. Each of the slides, I try to keep it in the interest of time at a high level, because each slide can go into a 1 hour session because that's the course is all about, you have at your college also. So I'll try to keep it short, crisp, and then we can get at the end some Q&A session also. So I'll try to keep some ample time for that too. Let me start sharing my screen. Let me know once it's visible, then we can jumpstart.
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. So today the topic is like scaling our startup and take from vision, what vision or the idea we have, and make it to a reality, actually launch it, and then how we can take it from 0 to 1 journey. I'll cover that. Moving on to the next. Next slide. I think Sandeep already covered a warm introduction about myself, so I'll just skip this particular slide. We go to the next slide. So every business or any startup starts with an idea, right? Each one of us have a particular idea. It could be from our looking within, like the problem which we are facing, whether you are facing in your current situation, whether it's in college or whether it's in your job, current job, or when you're looking outward and seeing people, what kind of problem people are facing, and the idea clicks, right? So each one of us starts with a clear vision and strategy around that idea you have to form. I don't say that you have to see the end result upfront, but there should be some clear idea that what you want to build. Then we create a blueprint around it. So that's the very first step we track around, that you create a plan around your idea, what you want to achieve in the long run. It might not necessarily perfect solution in the very first go, but at least you need to have a roadmap, which we call a business plan, right? Business plan around that idea, how you will approach it over the period of time, and then show that how the success at the end goal. It could be a 5-year plan, it could be a 10-year plan, how see your idea taking shape and turns out to be a big business. So that is the initial step which each one of us have to take it before we jump into building it from scratch. So a good idea, what a good idea should be. A good idea must address a real market need. So at the end of the day, you look for a problem. You don't start with a solution, right? What a problem, and is there a need in the market currently? Because if you're thinking whether it's a passion project, if it's a passion project, which we do generally in our colleges time and all, right, for the project work, which never see the light of the day, right? You just do it for completion, getting the marks and all. But if you are trying to build a business, you have to see that whether the market needs it in the long run, how big is the market, because that defines how big the business can become. And it should provide value to the user, because at the end of the day, if nobody is able to use it, even if it's best of the solutions, if nobody wants to value it, nobody is using it, it's of no use to build a business around it. It could even turn out into a basic. I move to the next slide. Uh, what's the next thing you did when you have an idea? After idea, when you identify the problem and the solution, now you have to look for the people who are going to build it. Because if you're a solo founder, let's say the idea is mine, right? I need to figure out that what kind of skill sets required to build it into and transform it into a business, because I will not have each and every skill set which are required to build a business, right? So you need a team, right? So team is the founder or the pillars for building a huge business on top of it. So you need a very strong and cohesive team. In early days, right? When early days you don't have resources or the funds and all, right? It all boils down to the people within your network. Okay, so we need to find out the people with complementary and unique skill sets, because I don't want everybody should be from the tech oriented, right? You need people who have sales or the marketing background. Somebody should take care of the finance and operations also. So because you as an entrepreneur or the startup founder, you need to have the idea about each and every domain, because that's why we say that most of the startup founders become generalists, right? Because you need to have understanding of each and every aspect of the business, whether it's finance, it's operations, whether it's marketing, whether it's product, or whether it's tech, at a very high level. But at the end of the day, you need somebody who knew the details of it, right? And because then only you can transform and build a very good product. Right. So each team member, you have to make sure that the team members have the complementary skill set at the very early days, because you want people with good knowledge. You need people diversity and who have the collaborative attitude, right? At the end of the day, in very early days, because you want people who are hustlers, they have a great attitude to learn new things also. You don't just want very specialist people, because they might not be able to take the other aspect of the business along when you are building. So the early days, it matters. The attitude also matters a lot along with the skill sets. So you have to make sure that your team have that cohesive bonding when you are because you have to build it together at the end of the day. Next, now you have to build a great product, right? So you got an idea. you identify the problem solution, you got the people around it, right? That what you're trying to build, the people. Now, what will you do, right? How you will approach building a product? Now, in the early days, it's always said that you have to build a minimum viable product. And nowadays, it's called minimum lovable product, right? Because you need to find out the very early adopters of your product, right? Early adopters in the sense, those are the people who will be the cheerleaders and who should love your product. So it's like when you are building the initial product, you need to find set of people who love your product. Because if everybody likes your product, it might not turn out to be a very successful product, because you need the product, people who love it, the people who like it may not translate into a transacting users. You might not give them money coming into it, right? At the later point of days, initially you might see a lot of people started using it, they will like it, but they will not give a proper feedback to you. The people love it will be giving you a critical feedback, right? So that's the key challenge that we have to iterate in the early days. You see that your vision is to get 10 features in your product, that the perfect product will look for 10 features, but you start just with 3 key features of your product and just launch it, because the speed of shipping a particular product, right? Whether you are into B2C, which we say, right, direct to the consumer, where you're launching an app, or you build a business to business solution, you need to have, you start with pilot and business to business phase, but while in B2C side, you launch your alpha product, right? We call it or alpha or a beta launch. I'll get the user feedback, gets 1,000 customers to start using it and giving me the feedback, so that we can iterate over the period of time and make it much better. And we have to, the next thing is to ensure that the market demand is fulfilled with your product, right? It's not necessary just we launch an app, just for example, let's say a social platform, right? You have a Facebook, you have an Instagram, and you just launch another social platform for people to engage it. So is the market demand, is there, are you solving a unique problem which people are facing in using Instagram and Facebook, let's say, just for example, right? So is the delta you are providing to the consumers, okay, which can fulfill the market demand as well as the user need, and which gradually leads to the product market fit, right? Now, product market fit is the holy grail. It says that in the early days, once you achieve the product market fit, means your product have attraction, have the customer love, as well as the potential to earn money also. Like there is somebody who is paying, is who is ready to pay, and people will feel the pinch if your product is missing from the market. Let's say if you pull down your product, will there be people who will crib and start talking to you and asking you why you are taking down this particular product? So when you receive this kind of support and the feedback from the market, you actually achieve the product market fit. But again, product market fit is a journey, right? In a 0 to 1, product market fit looks different versus when you're going from 1 to 10. So product market fit, when the overall market start appreciating your product and start giving you the revenues as well as the money plus the feedback coming pouring in, and organically you are growing, right? That means you don't have to spend a lot of money on your marketing or digital marketing. You do organic growth compared to the inorganic growth. How you say the balance is shifting from paid marketing to organic marketing. That's the point where you see that you are at the verge of getting a product market fit. So these are one of the key features when we look for when you are building a great product. Now, the next thing, it says the ideas are dime a dozen, right? Everybody has an idea, right? But execution is the key. So lots of ideas never see the light of the day, right? Because nobody is ready to execute it, right? So how you turn it into reality, right? So you have to start executing, uh, whether you are doing a side hustle. Most of the now let's say as a student, you are in your second year, you are close to completion of, you already have an idea, start building, start shipping and getting the user feedback, start getting user feedback out of it. The people who are into the jobs, they start doing side hustle, whatever the product in whatever shape and form you can launch it, just launch it so that you start getting the feedback. Don't just launch for the sake of getting money, right? Because when you are in early days, money is not, because you want the user feedback at the very early stage so that the price discovery can happen at the later stage of the time, right? Unless and until your product is top notch, deep tech product and all, where you need a lot of investment and all. If it's a product which is can be built using the existing technologies and all, you should be able to launch it. So whatever the execution is the key, and the early launch I'm talking about in the regular products. In the deep tech product sense, you need a different kind of skill set and different kind of money, and the time horizon, everything is very long, right? So the next thing is a clear objectives and milestone. So when we talk about objectives and milestones per se, is how quickly you are shipping the product, is your iterative cycle, the time to market, and as well as time to revenue recognition. Okay, B2C versus B2B both have a different sales cycle, right? In a B2C or a D2C kind of thing, you can start selling front, you can start listing your product, let's say a consumer product in terms of personal care product. If you're launching, you can list on the marketplaces, you can create your own website and start selling on the day one itself. You do some Facebook and Insta marketing and Google ads, and you start seeing the money flowing in your account, right? So, but at the end of the day, how much customer acquisition costs? So what kind of objectives you are setting, that at the end of the day, I have to see that the ROI is converting, what my unit economics and all, whether I'm achieving it or not, certain period of time, right? You can't look to a best CAC, like the customer acquisition cost or the best ROI on the day one. You have to set it that in the end of the month, this could be my average cost of customer acquisition. At the end of 3 months, this should be my return on the ad spend, what ROA is called in the digital marketing terms. So you set those milestone, and you keep tracking those milestones and see the variation on those numbers, right? Whether you are lacking, and then do the root cause analysis to figure out that what is stopping you to achieve those milestones, and the course corrective action. So it's a lot of iterations involved in the early days, as you are building on the go, right? So you have a small team, you have resource crunch, you are very frugal when you are spending the money and all. So you have to make sure that the objectives and milestones are clearly tracked, and measured with intensity and focus. So when we say that maintain a high level of intensity and focus, is that you have to make sure that you are not distracted by the noise around you, right? Noise around you in the sense, I'll tell you that there is a lot of technology innovations keep happening. There is a AI coming, but let's say you are into a D2C business and there are a lot of holla around the AI, Gen AI and all. You don't have to get distracted by those things. You have the chisel focus that, okay, this is my business. At this point of time, I don't have to unnecessarily get the things which are happening around me and try to defocus, right? You don't have to focus, yeah, I have to bring AI in products, and how I can build my website, which is more AI focused and AI driven engagement, right? If you have the money and the resources in line, and you have hit a plateau where your growth is getting affected because of this new technology, that's fine. But if just for the sake of the noise or the hype and hoopla around it, you are trying to build it, it's a no-go, right? So you have to learn to say no to so many things, so that the intense focus need to be there, that this is my going. I have to make sure that these are the milestone I'll achieve, and I'll say no to a lot of things. That's the kind of, when you're doing execution in one particular direction, you have to make sure that you focus and you are there on the path. So the next slide, I'll cover that opportunities and growth. So now the execution, you started executing, you have launched your product and everything, and you are getting customer feedback, you are you are making justice to those feedbacks, you are talking to customers, you taken into consideration their feedback, you are evolving your product over the period of time. Now look at the growth, right? Now growth talks about in two different segments. Now there is expanding your users and the market penetration, right? So you want to take the pie out of your competitors' buckets, as well as you want to increase your user base, and user base in turn converts to the revenue, right? So now growth is now multifaceted in terms of whether you are doing a product-led growth, whether you are doing a sales-led growth, or you are doing a combination of it. So the growth is a very big topic. I think we will learn, or maybe you can read about it. There are different models when you want to achieve growth, right? But growth and market penetration, you have to make sure that the kind of resources you are utilizing, the kind of collaborations you are doing are aligned with your vision. So the next point, when I mentioned that they'll all be ready to open new doors, that means the kind of partnership you look into, the kind of networking you do, the kind of feedbacks you include from the mentors and advisors and the industry stalwarts in within your product, right? You have to make sure it aligns to your vision, right? Because you have a vision which you started your idea itself, right? The way to reach the vision could be different, right? You have to mold, you have to pivot and all over the period of time. But to reach that, you should not get distracted from your end goal at the end of the day. So whatever partnership you, let's say, just for example, right? Just for example, that you are a holistic wellness brand. Let's say for right? We are a holistic wellness platform. We talk about health. We about personalization, whatever it's every our collaborations and the kind of solutions we bring on our platforms are all revolves around health and holistic wellness, right? So I cannot go and let's say influencer marketing, right? So I cannot go and talk to an influencer who is let's say promoting tobacco, just for example, right? So I cannot associate myself. He cannot be my brand ambassador or a influencer to gain the customers, right? So because I have to be true to my vision that I am a holistic wellness platform, so I not engage with this kind of influencer because that's not my business, right? Let's say I am an alcohol brand and all. Let's say for example, you can associate with them, you can have them as your endorsers, right? But at the end of the day, your participation, you have to be chisel focused about your vision. The next is distribution plays a major role. Now, for an app, let's say for AyuRhythm as an app, right? So major distribution platforms are Apple and Google Play, right? Play Store and App Store are the major distribution channels for us, right? So, but this at the end of the day, I have to make sure that on these platforms, I get organic downloads more compared to whatever I'm getting on the ad burn, right? So my distribution revolves around partnerships also, so that somebody else promote my app on their platform, okay, without paying money, let's say, right? So we associate with let's say Ministry of Ayush. We do one of the thing which we did for yoga day last year. We did on 2022, we did they wanted to do a 7 lakh yoga during the yoga, the Surya Namaskar. So we gave our solution. We create a small module within our app to track Surya Namaskar, and we promoted it, and then it ballooned, right? It gives us a lot of downloads, and people started using it for tracking their Surya Namaskar, what happens, how many Surya Namaskar they did during that. So we associated ourselves with those kinds of organization, which can without spending money, because we as a startup, early stage startup, you don't want to splurge money, right? So you want to find out those avenues which can give you major distribution goal. Same which we did on Shark Tank. Let's say we were always open to looking the avenues where we can get free publicity and all, and somehow fortunately we landed up in Shark Tank, and it gave us good organic boost, right? Without spending any money. We had to be make sure that whatever we are presenting, whatever solution we have built is top notch, and we had to just compete against lots of great people, great founders. But somehow we landed up in the big screen, and it gave us a huge boost in our organic growth. The next is your market presence enhances your brand's appeal. So that means you have to be available on various platforms. You have to make sure that you are getting coverage, because in the B2C world, right? B2C world, you have to be in front of the eyes, like, right? If you're not available, if you're not in the press, or you're not making any PR or ads, people can't see you. That means you are losing the market. So you have to make sure that your market presence is there, and it eventually over the period of time, the brand builds and the brand appeal increases, right? But building a brand is a long-term game, right? So the marketing and sales, the marketing channels, the marketing helps you, But at the end of the day, how you reach to the brand, right? The brand recognition, when anybody can see and just say that, okay, I'll, if somebody talks about Ayurveda and say that, okay, AyuRhythm is the brand which we will focus on, at that stage, you will reach eventually, right, over a period of time. So your brand appeal, make sure that you are in front of the people every now and then. And always use metrics to track your growth and identify the opportunities that the metrics, there is always there is a term called North metric. So there is one metric which each company focuses on, which is the key metric, and everything aligned towards. So there is sub metrics, but the North Star metric is one thing which every company have it, that this is an each of your employee need to work cohesively towards achieving that North Star metric. So for, let's say, for a D2C brand, revenue is the growth metric. But let's say for a social platform, right? Minutes spent on a day, right? Is the North Star metrics. For a YouTube as a channel, they want to see that, okay, how much time is spent, minutes watched, that could be their North Star metric, right? Because everything revolves around how many time people are using, how many minutes people are spending in watching videos, right? So that's the kind of North Star metric you have to set. You have to identify that North Star metric for your own business, and then channelize your all energy towards reaching or increasing that North Star metric. The next come is the ecosystem, right? So now you have to navigate the ecosystem. The very first thing, ecosystem, when I talk about, we talk about the entire startup as well as the government, right? System. So there are lots of rules and regulation you have to be aware about, right? Because whatever locality, whatever region or geography you are serving, you have to make sure that you are abided by the rules and regulation. Otherwise, it can hit you very badly. Right. Just for example, when we talk about a couple of years back, there was a lot of hype around the crypto and all, right? It was revolutionizing. Web3 was there, crypto warming, and then suddenly government took an action that, okay, right now we have to regulate it. It's not good for the market. It's not good for the people. And suddenly we have seen that lots of companies have to move out of India, to stay out of India so that they can operate in a better environment, whichever region is providing them that leash that, okay, you can utilize this. Our ecosystem is more robust. We have less regulated market. They had to move there. So you have to make sure that rules and regulation, that's a risk, because you cannot anticipate that what kind of challenges you will face in terms of the policies changing at that level. But still, you have to keep track of this rules and regulation changes, policy movements. The second is the competition. Yeah, again, see, competition is again a decision, which you say, because if you are true to your product, you are true to your customer, you are obsessed with your customers, you are giving good customer experience, good customer support. At the end of the day, you will eventually, that will give you the rights to win in this particular market. But still, competition, you have to just not obsessed over the competition, but you have to keep track of the competition, that what's happening, what are they doing, are there something which we are missing? Because there is a saying, right? You when you are on a D2C side, or whether you are on an app side, you can go to your competitor's app or the website and see that what kind of reviews they are getting, and focus on the negative reviews and see that are the similar kind of features you able to provide it, right? So that your more certain times, right, people do the analysis of those reviews itself and see that, okay, these are the reasons people are bashing somebody which is in the same domain or competing in the same domain. How you can utilize that into your benefit, right? That's a kind of another data analysis which you can do, right? Looking into the bad reviews for your competition. Next is keeping track of the emerging technology. You have to keep track if those technologies are venturing into your domain, okay, how you can leverage technology and see that you are not far behind, right? So sometimes those technology evolution are a destination, as I was saying, that if it's not related to your domain, chuck it. just close your eyes and just move on and start focusing on your mission. But if this things like the Gen AI, right, it revolutionized so many industries, right? When you are tech-enabled, you can leverage those technology to your benefit. That's why you have to always keep track of this, that you don't have to build things from scratch now. You can have faster execution, you can shift fast, you can do a 10-day work in 1 day. Let's say if I had to launch a chatbot, right? Earlier, if I had to create a chatbot, a conversational AI for my platform, right? It used to be a 1 month project. Now let's using Google LLM or the conversational AI support on the OpenAI APIs, I can launch it in a day's time itself. So those are the kind of technologies which can help you in increasing efficiency and saving time. You should adopt it and always keep track of it and earn it also on the go. Next, there is a big shift between bootstrap versus seeking funding. It's a big topic around startup ecosystem, that whether you should build a bootstrap startup or a fund startup. It's a very personal choice. At the end of the day, I'll say, right, when people start, if you can start a bootstrap business, you build it, you have a lot of independence and everything. What things you want to do, you can do it on your own pace. But at the end of the day, if you want to shift the pedal, you want to have a lot more kind of fuel in your startup. Let's say you are doing a bootstrap startup and you are clocking 10 lakh a month kind of revenue, but if you want to reach to a 1 crore kind of a revenue, you have to look for external funding in your business, right? Because you have only 10 lakh. It's a revenue which you are pumping in again in your system and leveraging it over the period of time. But if you want the good growth, faster growth, but it comes with a lot of other challenges and nuances. I think it is a very big, broad topic. But yeah, if you have to look for funding, you have to do your due diligence of the investors whom you want to reach out. Okay, building a business, the kind of metric each and every fund house or an angel investor look for are different. The environment also changes over the period of time. The kind of metric which people were focusing a couple of years back, now how they are focusing, the metric which they are focusing now are way different. So you have to mold your business according to it before you go in front of them, right? But it's always good to be in touch with the ecosystem or the VC funds. Just at least know that what they are looking for. You can start the conversation, just talk to them, hit the idea, that see that what kind of feedback they are giving you, take those feedback, and when you are ready in the 6 month down the line, focus on, if you want to raise the funds 6 months down the line, focus on those metrics that they are looking for. You can make those better and then go back and show that, okay, in the last 6 months, this was what we have achieved, this is what we were expecting, and this is the directionally we are going through, and then seek funding. So I think that's the kind of approach you have to take nowadays, because of the environment, how it changed it. At what stage you raise the fund, it's very personal. And always adapt to the market changes and learn from feedback to stay relevant, right? Because at the end of the day, how you are pivoting, as I was saying, a couple of years back, the metrics were different, which people were looking for a business, compared to now what fund houses or the VCs or the ecosystem is looking is different. That how you can build a sustainable business, how you can make sure that your unit economics are in place. Are you not splurging or burning a hell lot of money on just customer acquisition? Are those, whatever the customer you are acquiring, are good customers, or good in the sense that who can convert into you very soon? If not now, how 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, are you acquiring those kind of customers? So the quality versus quantity, the focus has shifted toward more quality and the sustainable business, and the practice that how you approach the finance always comes into picture days, that your unit economics are in place properly or not. So most of those are, as I mentioned, that each slide could have been a 1 hour session, because there are a lot of metrics what you need to focus on when you are building a startup. Few practical tips, which, let's say, to cover in a nutshell, if I say that there are 4 things which you have to validate your idea with real user. Don't just validate it with your friends and family, because the real feedback you might not be able to give, because they want to be good to you. They will not tell you the bad thing. They will only say the good thing, but you want to hear the bad things also. So that's why you have to create that MVP, launch it, get the beta testing, get the real users to use it. If you are creating a B2B solution, then the B2B solution, try to find out one business which can adapt, or which can at least where you can do a pilot with them. Right, to get the real feedback, real, or you want to hear the bad news very early, right? Those are the things, so that you don't want to wait, hear good news and wait for a bad news very later point of time where it's difficult for you to change the direction. Hire people who are smarter than you. Uh, so why we say that hire people who are smarter than you? Because you want people to give you also knowledge, because as it's a continuous learning over the period of time. You just don't want just the yes men in your organization who just always seek direction. You want people who are smarter than you, because they can take the load of your shoulders also, right? Because they are the ones who gonna execute actually, because most of the time you are somewhere else as a founder over the period of time in few days, because you have to, let's say, raise fund. Your focus is on revenues, your focus is on creating your brand, your business promotions and all. But on the ground, you want people, let's say the tech person need to be much more smarter than you, right? Because that's why you are hiring. So in the early days, you want people who can uh, outsmart you. You don't want to be the smartest person in the room. That's the kind of thing you should approach the hiring from. Be frugal with your spending, but generous with equity. So what I mean by this, that's when you are hiring in the early days, you want a smarter people in your organization, but you don't have money to pay them, right? Because smarter people never comes cheap, right? So you have to make sure you are okay with parting equity. So equity is nothing but like is like you are owning under business, but you are okay to give 20% of business to your employees. That's the kind of ESOPs in a nutshell. We can call ESOPs as a part of your business. You are okay to give away to your employees. And we say generous with equity because you are not able to pay the market salary with the very early days to your employees. And be flexible and be ready to pivot, right? Because as the market dynamics I was talking about, that when you're navigating your ecosystem, right? As the market dynamics changes, we have to be rigid to our vision that, okay, I am focused on my vision. I'm not changing that, but the rest of the things, I'm flexible, right? As a founder, right? I'm flexible. I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to pivot, course corrections and all. And pivot is nothing but then find out new ways of uh, generating revenue and getting the growth, right? So maybe let's say we were, for example, like AyuRhythm as a solution. We started as a B2C app, but now we created a solution. We leverage that data, whatever we collected, we build our AI models, and now we ventured into B2B also, so that we can cater to the healthcare ecosystem also, not just directly to the consumer. We started created a solution for doctors, and we started generating revenue from doctors, right? So B2C is a different play altogether, but B2B is the quick revenue generation channel for us. So we are true to our vision that we have to create an ecosystem where get the customer easy access of health to them, improve their wellness and the life. And we will marry them with the service providers or the product player over the period of time. But right now, we have to cater to the B2B or the Ayurvedic players or the ecosystem, the service providers in a different manner. So we use our technology and we leverage and we work directly with doctors also. So that's how we pivoted because the market was looking for that kind of pivot at this point in time from us. So we were flexible enough. But yeah, we are true to our overall vision at the end of the day over the period, and that's how it will materialize. Some common pitfalls will also cover that scaling too quickly without solid foundations. When we say that solid foundation, that like the ingredient I talked about in the early slides, right? Your team, your product, your customer love. If you don't get that early and you just scale too quickly, right? You get lots of downloads, a lot of customers who are using it, but at the end of the day, it is not translating into money and it's not building a sustainable business for you. So that's the scaling totally without solid foundation. Next is ignoring customer feedback, right? So thinking that, okay, I know best because I have built the product. We get too, as founders, it happens that we get too attached to what we have built, and we think that this is the feature which I have developed. This is the best feature, but nobody is using it, right? Because we are ignoring customer feedback. So no point of having that fear, right? You have to we say you have to trim the tree. Okay, you build it, but then at the end of the day, if something is not working, you have to be crudely just ignore based on your customer feedback. You have to cut that particular feature out of your app or out of your solution if it's not used at all. The failing to adapt to market changes. So let's say if you are very rigid that this is my distribution channel, this is my GTM strategy, and this is my revenue channel. Whatever happening around me, I don't want to change it. It's a recipe for disaster most of the time, right? Because you have to adapt to market changes because as you are part of the market, market moves you, right? At the end of the day, whatever shifts are happening, you have to adapt to those changes and try to adapt it, build a business around it, and pivot. Overlooking the importance of company culture. So as you grow over the period of time, early days you are easy because you are only doing the hiring, right? We can hire you. You're hiring. You are because you know that what you want to for you want to hire for attitude plus a skill a mix. You are taking the interviews and getting people. But over the period of time, when you are second level or the third first level or the second level people start interviewing, they might not have the same kind of values which you want somebody coming into your company, right? So that company culture is very important. It start playing a big role once you grow, right, over a period of time. So let's say the from till 10, let's say you are 1% team to 3% team to a 10% team, but when you to 50 people team, right? So the people who are coming into it, you might not have the direct insights into their behavior and all. So you have to make sure that the people you are hiring, they are hiring with the same kind of values and mission statement they are imbibing, and they are focusing on the same kind of building the company culture across their individual team also. So that's how company culture is very important over the period of time. If you ignore it, it's mostly plays the role when you grow bigger. But yeah, you have to start building it from the day one. Uh, so some of the key traits I want to cover for the successful entrepreneur, you have the resilience because you might not have the same kind of passion or same kind of fun or enthusiasm every day, right? It's very different. That's why like it says that even if you are in a bad mood, even if you are broke, you have to do it. You have to get up in the morning, go to the office and do the work. And that's the resilience you have to develop on yourself, right? Because there is no other way to do it. Okay. Not we have seen the successful startup. There are so many startups who are overnight serving. Nobody is overnight success. So there is a lot of grit and goes. So be ready to for that kind of grit and hustle for a longer period of time, right? If things work out very quickly, it's fine, but you have to plan it for the next 5 to 10 years when you're building a business. The next thing is customer obsession. Be very customer obsessed. What feedback they are getting, your entire company should be customer obsessed in terms of all each and every employees, right? It's not the job of just the founder. You have to make sure the culture is like that, that everybody's customer obsessed. Whatever feedback they are giving, you have to take it to the face value. You don't have to argue with the customer that no, this is the way we have the product, right? So nobody care, right? They are paying you the money and they want to use it, and nobody likes instruction at the end of the day, right? That's the reality. If you are a customer on the other side, think of that shoe that if some services you are taking, if services gone down, you will blast the customer service executive. Same way you have to think through that. You have to be customer obsessed, take their feedback. Not necessarily translate everything translates into a feature based on their feedback, but they might not the gory details of your business and the technology, but end of the day, your feedback matters a lot. Next thing is network. Build your network. Build a network of mentors around you, because you will. It's a long journey. You will not be able to get the answers within. You seek the answers from outside. The people who have been there, done that. You have to make sure that you are taking the feedback from the right kind of people also. In the sense that if I take feedback from, let's say, just for example, I take a feedback from Steve, let's say from founder of Paytm, right? Say VSS. If I have to take feedback, because he's at such a high level, right? My business is at one, his business is at 1,000, right? So the kind of thing he will tell, I might not be able to relate and execute, right? So you have to take the feedback from the people who are one or two stage above your thing, right? Let's say we are at one, I have to take the feedback from somebody who is at level 5 or level 10. So take the feedback from those people who are recently gone through the rut. So that at least they will tell you that what things work, what didn't work. So you have to network, go to those panel. There are lots of meetups happen around each and every. That's a good part happening around the cities. There are lots of meetup now. The ecosystem is developed, so there are lots of people you can meet and build your network. Next is adaptability, as I talked about earlier also, that adaptability, you have to adapt and you have to keep learning new things on your own, right? As a founder, you have to learn. You cannot be rigid on that. I know only marketing, I will do only marketing and nothing doing, right? It cannot work. You have to learn the tech, you have to learn the operation, you have to learn this, and whatever new things happening around, you have to continue learning, do the courses. Don't just focus on whatever you learn over the period of time. You have to keep increasing your knowledge. Passion and curiosity, there should always be passion, because otherwise passion, you will not be able to go through the rut, right? So you need to be passionate about what you are building and be curious, right? Shamelessly curious. Ask question, right, left, and center about things. Ask questions from your team also. If something, whatever, if they say that technology, we are making a tech product, right? I know nothing about cloud infra. Okay, if somebody is telling me that it will take 5 days to build this particular setup on a cloud, if I have to change from Elastic Beanstalk, blah blah, all things they talk about, right? But I shamelessly ask, right, what it is about, why 5 days it will take. It might take 5 days. Okay, but I want to know why it is taking 5 days. So because if I have to go and talk to somebody and somebody asks what's happening in your startup, let's say I'm talking to investors or the board members, I have to be able to answer that why it is taking 5 days. So be curious and focus on the impact. At the end of the day, you, whatever your vision is, you have to focus on that and continue, be be decisive, and be focused on that particular thing always throughout your journey. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So I think I try to cover most of it, and I'm open to questions now, whatever questions we can answer. And if everybody wants, I can share the pitch also. I'll share it with the GIBS team, so if we can float the pitch if somebody needs it.
Certainly, Sandeep first of all, thank you so much for putting it across in a simplest possible way. The reason is today there are a lot of jargons, but I could see that there were no jargons used. Very simple language was being used, which would we all were able to connect that better. So moving ahead with the questions, we have I think a lot of questions which has already been asked by our viewers. To start with, the first question has been asked by Shifa Fatima. She says, "What are some of the effective ways to attract and retain top talent during the scaling phase?"
Okay, so Fatima, that is the key challenge which all the startup founders face, I think, and the talent. First of all, the talent recognition and then retention. Right, hiring is one of the major challenge where you will sort of startups coming into, right? So, one of the thing is you have to make sure that they are aligned with your vision. Why I did, because if if you're coming into your organization just for the sake of money, it will be very difficult to retain them over the period of time, because when you are, even if you are giving jobs, people don't value ESOPs a lot because it's like quick money, right? They want quick money, not that when after 4 years or 5 years the startup mature and then they get the kind of money in their bank account. So if somebody is just coming for the money, it's very difficult. You have to make sure that people are aligned with your vision, and they are coming for money. At the end of the day, they will come for money. If somebody making for a switch from other organization, they will come for money. But are they coming just alone for the money, or they are coming for some other motive, right? That the passion they have, let's say health. When we hire, right? So we started hiring at a very later stage. We started working with contractors, and then the contractors converted into the employees over the period of time. So that's the initial days we restricted ourselves from hiring. We said that let's work for on a contract basis for a certain period of time, and then we will convert, because how the dynamics, how the synergies are sinking in or not. And right now there is lots of remote work happens. So when we started in COVID time, we have to hire remotely, and people were working remotely. So it was very crucial for us to understand passion, not just talk about the work, talk about the life as such, right? What's their motive, what they do in their free time, how they look to a family over the period of time. So we wanted to understand the person better rather than just focusing on the skill. So you have to, there is a big balance you have to make when you're hiring during the early stage.
Great, sir. Thank you so much for that. Shifa, I hope you've got the answer for the next question has been asked by Sarojini. He says, how to develop a sales strategy that aligns with the growth goals?
Okay. If I don't know, you're looking for a B2C or a B2B kind of thing. Okay. So in a B2B kind of setup, if we talk about B2B, your sales strategy very much revolves around the people who gonna be the buyer, and who are the people who gonna influence the buyer. So let's say most of the time in the B2B side of it, your sales cycles are very long. You have to find out a person who gonna use your solution versus the person who gonna take the decision to pay, right? So the sales strategy evolves around whether you are building a content driven sales growth, outbound versus inbound, how it's happening, at what stage you are. In the very early days, it's always cold calling, reach out, marketing. That is the way we build our sales funnel, let's say, right? At the early days, because nobody knows your brand. You are very new, right? Your solution, you have to prove yourself to be in front of it, right? Next is you have to find your friends of friends. So that's why network play a very major role, right? Because if you are meeting people, you have to build that network so that somebody can connect you with somebody higher in the organization, so that the decision cycle reduces, the time to decide reduces, right? How quickly you can reach out to the decision maker, that plays a role. Then as talk about that, the strategy which you have to lead, whether you are using a product led growth, whether you are using a sales led growth, you are using marketing led growth, or you are building a cohesive approach that, okay, we have to try everything in the initial days, right? Because then you zero in once you reach to a substantial revenue stage, then you can see that, okay, I will be more focused on product led growth because my product talks about itself, right? It's going ridiculously organic growth, or giving good reviews, they are referrals working very fine. So that's the product led growth, right? But it will change over the period of time, but you have to try all the three things at the very early stage.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Our next question is like, how do we gather and incorporate the user feedback? As you earlier mentioned that the feedbacks are very, very crucial. So how do we gather those feedback and how do we incorporate them in the business?
So one of the thing is, let's say for a B2C app, right, you start getting feedback. If something is not working, you will get the feedback in a Play Store review itself, right? People will bash you that this thing is not working. So the bad feedbacks, you always get bad reviews very fast on your B2C apps and all. If the product selling, let's say some D2C product you are selling, if product is not working and you're doing uh, online selling, you will get bad reviews very quickly,
Very
right?
quickly.
Next, very quickly, right? Very quickly. If something is not working, right? If something is work, that takes a lot of effort to get that feedback. But if something is not working, you will get it very instantly. But then user research, because you have to create focus groups. What kind of solution you have? If it's a software, let's say it's a software play, you can create groups. You have to see your target audience, that whom you're selling it to. Let's say let's say a community building, right? And let's say I'm building a community for the mm, let's say for business schools. Okay, business. I want the people who are into marketing and finance streams. I am creating a solution for them, and I will reach out to the GIBS. Let's say, okay, GIBS, and I want, let's say, I want to do a test run with students. What is required? What are the compliance I have to make sure I follow? I'll talk to them. I'll do the close group study there and go there. So you have to make sure that where your audience are, how you can reach there in a best possible way and the cheapest way possible, and how you take the advantage of that. That's kind of meetups. Certain meetups can help you in all that. So let's say you are building a solution for product management, right? So go to the meetups which focus on product management, product development. There are lots of books. Go there and talk to people, and then get the feedback directly from. Create a small group community, small WhatsApp group, and try to gather the feedbacks. Or Survey Monkey, you roll out Google Forms, you roll out, if you want to the feedback from masses, you can friends of friends ask the favors, right? That please forward it to your apartment complex group and all. You have to be resourceful and shamelessly ask for favors.
Again, this also reminds me of the point which you mentioned, that the network is equally important. So networking needs to be done there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so moving ahead with it, we will take the last couple of questions more
Sure.
of the evening. The next question is, how should startups approach funding when they're ready to scale?
Okay. So as I was mentioning, that funding, it's the topic currently. It's very much focused about how you are building a sustainable business right now, right? So let's say the metrics which currently a particular VC is looking into, right, are very much revolved around profitability and the unit economics. And let's say the sector agnostic. So there are certain VC funds and angel network which are sector agnostic. But if you are in a very particular deep tech focus, let's say, or agri tech, or let's say for us health tech, so there are very niche VC funds who are focused on that particular sector itself. So you have to do a research. Again, it's like how you approach. You have to start again the way you are building the product, same way your funding strategy need to be there. That okay, I have to raise the fund. Who are the people whom I should approach? I have to create the list of, let's say, 100 VC funds. Okay, and then I have to see that I have to figure out. I have to do my own research, that whom I should approach it, what kind of fund it is, what are their key metrics which they look into, are they sector agnostic, are they focusing on this sector, which stage they come into, right? What is their ticket sizes? So you have to do your research in terms of what ticket size. Let's say if I have to raise $1 million, okay, but there is a fund which can play only in Series B or Series C, which is $5 million plus. No point of reaching out to them at this point of time itself, right? That okay, I want to raise $1 million. Can you come in? So you have to do your research. You have to zero in on the people who you will approach. So when in our early days, LinkedIn was the best solution for us. We used to reach out to them, connect with them, and ask for a time. Can we do it? Okay, this is the brief note about our startup. That this is stage we are. But you have to make sure that you are reaching to the right person at the right time, right? Don't, as I said, that don't to those fund houses who are nowhere close to your ticket side what you are raising, right? So, and you always have the time frame, keep the time frame of that 6 to 9 months kind of time frame, because it takes a lot of time. Right, to raise the funds, right? Because you have to so many people, and you will be bombarded with rejection certain time. But yeah, you have to keep hustling, as I say, that you have to be resilient, right? So you just want one person, right? Out of 100 you will reach, it will materialize with 1 or 2 people. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So we'll take up one last question for the evening. This is, sir, you suggested an online social media marketing and initiating the business. My question is how to protect or take measures in protecting customer from getting scammed, because the online scam is also increasing. So to gain the trust
Yeah.
of the customers.
Yeah. So I think when you're using which particular channels you're using, right? So nowadays we have to be very careful about, as you mentioned, there are a lot of schemes are happening, but how you are, is there a which channels you are using? If you are using Google Ads and Facebook marketing, and you are reaching, you have set the target audience and everything, and what kind of when a customer's details comes to you, right? Are you putting those customer deals in a safe or secure environment or not, right? That's the next channel. Are somebody, or let's say some partners whom or the vendors you are working with, are you divulging information to those vendors, right? Are you, so you have to make sure that what kind of information get passed your database, right? So your ecosystem, you are the custodian of that particular data, like the phone numbers or the email IDs. You have to make sure that personal data is never divulged to the vendors and all, right? So in work with, in the early days, you have to work with a very reputed kind of service provider or the vendor. If you are a shipping, let's say, so use known shipping provider, right? Don't just use a random local shipping providers or the courier people and all, right? You work with a known one because you want to build that trust that you are ready to give the best solution to your customers. So you have to work with a reputed one because your brand is still not there, their brand. Let's say for our shipping partner, we work with DTDC, right? So because DTDC is known, they have a huge network, people know DTDC is there around for so many years. Okay, but nobody knows our brand, let's say. So that's why we have to make sure your shipping partners, the partners which you are working with, maybe it's costly, I can find it cheaper, but yeah, at what cost, right? So you have to do that cost benefit analysis and make sure that your systems are robust. You are not leaking information to the wrong set of people. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I'm sure they've got the answers for the queries. And Sandeep sir, it was really amazing having interaction with you and learning a lot of things from you. Since you always mentioned that always have the smarter guy than you in the room so that they can teach you a lot of things. And today that's you, sir, being a keynote speaker. So thank you so much for being with all of us and teaching us about how does the business work, how does the startup works, and a lot of things about the entrepreneurship. So we look forward in meeting in person, and we would love to
Yeah.
host you in the campus as well. Once again, so it would be really great to have an interaction with you, sir. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you everyone for joining, and it's great talking.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I would also love to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the viewers who've been here. This session would also be put on live. This will be put on the YouTube channel of GIBS. So in case if you have missed out on any of the points, if you would love to refer the points once again, you can check the GIBS IRE channel. I'm sure you will find this video on the YouTube channel. And do follow Mr. Sandeep Acharya as well as GIBS to stay updated with a lot of new technologies. And sir is again with AyuRhythm, which is one of the finest app, I would say, for the wellness. So you can certainly look forward, and I'm sure it's worth trying it out, I would say. So do give a try and download the app, and I'm sure you will be really very, very happy. And thank you so much once again for joining us. Stay updated for our further upcoming GIBS IRE talks. Thank you so much. Signing off, Sandeep Ansari, sir. Thank you so much.